Evening. Welcome to part 1 of our 4-week conversation called Let's Talk Moms. We are just going to kick back and we are going to talk and dish with some moms. Because you know what? I'll talk about why we're here as we are waiting for our 2 moms that we're going to talk to today to join us. But thank you for joining us today. It is Wednesday. What is today? Today is Thursday. It is October 28th. I am alert times 4 today. So it is October 28th. It is Thursday at 8 o'clock. And I'm so happy that you have joined us today. As I said, this is part 1 of, actually, it is a 5-part series that we will be doing. Part 1 is, today we're talking about embracing what is and what is not. And Shakita Malloy and Avis Sneed will be joining us momentarily. I'm sure they are waiting to come on. There we go. Let's see if I can get Miss Avis on. Let's see. There she is. And now we're just waiting on Shakita. Awesome. Let's see. There she is. Hi, Avis.
Hi, girl.
You guys, Avis is my BFF.
For life.
We are forever. This is how I always say it. We are forever connected. We will always be a part of each other's lives, even when we get on each other's nerves. All right, Miss Shakita is on. How do I connect with Miss Shakita? Let's see. There we go. We got a party.
Where's she at?
We got a party. Is she here?
Oh,
There she is. Hi, Shakita. How are you?
I am well.
Good. Nice to meet you virtually. I was just kind of making our rounds. Good afternoon, everyone that is. We have a party in here tonight. I am loving it. So I was just kind of talking about why we were here. And before I go into that, y'all want something to drink? I got something to sip on.
Oh, I forgot my drink.
Yeah. Go get some drink, girl. So let me tell you guys, I have a business coach named Otesia Johnson, and she gifted us these cups. Can you see it? It's fantabulous. Can you see it? It has my name. It has a diva on there. And so I am sipping my sparkling cider.
Okay, I like it.
Out of my beautiful cup, my mug, and I am here today to talk, to dish with some other moms. So, Shakita, while we're waiting on Avis, go ahead and introduce yourself to us, please.
Well, my name is Shakita. My name is Shakita Malloy, and I have 2 businesses. I have a for-profit with Pure Wisdom, where I'm a certified life coach, published author, and motivational speaker. And then I have a nonprofit organization called Another Chance House of Refuge, where we're very big and heavy in the community here in Charlotte. But the biggest thing is I am a mother of 3.
Give it up for the mamas of 3. Oh my God. What ages? What ages are your babies?
So I have a 23-year-old son.
Woo.
An 11-year-old daughter, and I have a 7-year-old son.
Oh, goodness gracious, girl. You are busy.
Yes.
You got about every stage there. Oh my goodness.
I
Which is why I asked you to join us, because I knew that you would have something very valuable to add to our conversation tonight. So thank you so much for joining us.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
Yes. And Miss Avis, I was saying that Miss Avis is my BFF. And, you know, I said, I don't even tell people, like, your business anymore. Like, I just say, she's my friend. That's just my friend. So tell everyone what you actually do for a living.
I'm Avis, and I have my own company, a Polish Consulting Group, where I help other women to live financially free and help them restore their credit. I actually went through a divorce, so after my divorce, I found how really I didn't know much about my own finances, and I never wanted another woman to feel that way. So I've always been in the finance world. But starting my own company was just the best thing that I could have ever done. So that's what I do. I help restore credit and help with budgets and things of that nature. I'm a boy mom, so I have a 16-year-old and a 9-year-old. And it's is me.
Yes, you're at that age where it could go either way, and you want to hurt them so bad. Well, they think they know everything, don't they?
Especially that 16-year-old.
Oh my goodness, yeah. So I have a 10-year-old and a 1-year-old. Tell me what I was thinking. I said, it's now or never, now or never. So I have a 1-year-old and a 10-year-old. And so I just thought that this conversation was really important because I don't know if you guys have been like following like the news and Facebook news about the young mom who committed suicide about maybe 2 weeks ago. But that was just it was like really heartbreaking for me. And one of the things that she was saying was that she didn't have a lot of support. She was a single mom of 2. She was young and she just did not have a lot of support with the dad and even with her family. And so, I said, we need to talk. Moms need to just talk, have a place to just kind of kick back and just build their support networks. And so my hope in these next few conversations, we'll be doing them for the next actually 5 weeks, the next 4 weeks, it's just build support, have conversations with other moms just like me, just like you guys, about the realities of motherhood.
Yes.
And so today's conversation is about embracing what is, and more importantly, what is not. So I want either one of you, Shakita or Avis, when I say embracing what is and embracing what is not, what kind of stands out for you? What do you think?
Nothing is perfect. You can plan all you want to. You can be the best mom you want to. Nothing is perfect. And I have learned to not compare my children to other children because they're running their own race, just like we ran our own race. And I've learned that I grew with my parents, and so like with my 16-year-old, it was more like little bro. But with my 9-year-old, I was more mature, more financially, better. Headspace was better. I was married, so it was much different, and I can tell the difference in certain situations. So for me, what is not to compare your kids to each other, and not to compare them to any other children.
That's hard. Yeah. That is so hard because like we live in this world that we're supposed to compare. Like we live in a comparison-based world. And so to not compare, like how do you do that? How do you not compare?
It's hard because then you put your kid like on another kid's pedestal, like, don't you see such and such doing this and that? Why you won't get it through your da-da-da? And that can make them feel like this big, and you're thinking as a parent. What I did learn was, sorry, I'm jumping around, but it's in my mind. What I learned is that I'm wanting him to meet my expectations of being the greatest. Like, I don't want to be embarrassed, but this is his life. That's what that was the biggest thing. Like, I had to say, like, I know I'm doing an amazing job as a mother, but I had to allow him to make mistakes so that it can be teachable moments. I had to allow him to do things that I know I didn't teach him, and it's hard watching it, but not making it his life, my life, was something that is now better because I'm allowing him to see, okay, good consequences or bad consequences. Whichever one you want to choose, there is a consequence. However that looks for you. So and
it's your life and you get to choose it.
You get to choose it because ultimately we're basically teaching them to live the life, without us, when they go into adulthood. I mean, we can't be in his house 24/7 when they, make their own decision to leave home. So I can't be at school. You have to make your own decisions. You have to.
Yeah, I love that so much. Shakita, did you want to add something?
Absolutely. I will say what is not. What it is not. There is not a parenting rule book. There is no parenting rule book. And what is imperfection. And what is this is a journey. Being a mother and of 3, I've been on all spectrums. I started out as a teenage mother, a single teenage mother. And then 13 years later, I have a child and I'm married. So I went through the marriage and had that family unit. And then on the other side of it now, I'm 2 years into it, single mom. I know what it's like. I know what it's like on all spectrums. And just like she stated, the biggest thing is knowing that we cannot live our lives through our children. It is not our responsibility is to expose them to the world, expose them to different experiences for them to be able to make the best decisions for their lives, and knowing that it's a journey. It's definitely a journey. So there is no rule book. There is no rule book, but it is imperfection, and it is love.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. One of the things that I heard both you and Ava say is that tendency that we have as moms to want to project like this image of perfection. And what we tend to do is we tend to see our children as an extension of who we are. And if our children are not performing the way that we think that they should be performing, that means that I'm a bad mom. Can y'all talk to that part of it in terms of your experiences with that specifically? So let me just self-disclose. I know that I'm a therapist and a lot of my clients are on here, but I am a mom tonight. In these next few conversations, I am just a mom, okay? So I'm mom. I'm tired tonight, okay? So let me just talk about this part of it for me and my experience, and then I want to hear from you guys. So my child has an IEP. He was delayed speaking. And so when you have like a 3-year-old, 4-year-old that can't talk, you're like, wait a minute, what am I doing wrong? Right? And so there's a level of, it's my fault. I started blaming myself, beating myself over the head, and come to find out that little boy just didn't want to talk. He just did not want to talk. But here's the thing, like we hold ourselves to like this pedestal, this standard that is just not realistic. And we have to sometimes dig deep to find out, where did that thought of what I think mommyhood should be, where did that come from? Where did that come from?
I think for me, it came from my upbringing. I knew what I didn't want, and I didn't really actually find out why I was so hard on myself with parenting until like maybe 3 months ago, to be honest with you, in therapy. It's because things that I've experienced as a child, I never wanted my children to experience them. And so it was just so like, do this, do that. Okay, I'm giving you the key. Like, I'm giving you what I didn't have. Why are you wanting to do the total opposite? And I can say with my oldest, he was diagnosed with ADHD. And, but the boy is a genius. Like, he's smart as all get out. So when you hear that, you think, well, I know, like, he was about 5 or 6, a normal boy, hyper as crap. But I was too embarrassed to do the therapy route. I was too embarrassed to do the medicine route because it's just something you don't do in the Black community. But it was also like, I was taking up for my kids so much that he put it in his mind, if I show out, my mom is going to go off on these people. And then it really backfired on me. He had that same mentality with everything.
I think she's frozen.
Me? Can you hear me?
There you go. There you are.
There she is.
My kid had the same mentality of whatever I do, my mom is gonna make sure I'm good. And I am, but I didn't make him accountable for anything. And so now that he's getting up in age, it's like,
she keeps freezing.
I'm gonna say this, and to piggyback exactly on what she said, with my 23-year-old, right? Being that I was a teenager, I always said it goes back to the upbringing. I'm not going to raise my children the way that my family raised me, and my family was extremely strict on me. So with my 23-year-old, being that we kind of grew together, There was a lot of things that I allowed him to do. There was a lot of things that I coddled him, right? But again, that backfired on me because he was so used and so comfortable to me giving him everything, overcompensating for what I didn't get. Not overcompensating. It crippled him, right? So now 23, he's struggling. It's a challenge for him, and he's resentful because of when I took that step back, when I began to do the real self-healing work, looking at myself, he began to rebel. And we dealt with, going in and out of jail, we dealt with me being in the courts because he was a juvenile and I'm the mom and I'm subpoenaed and I got to be there. We dealt with all of those things and him resenting me because it was us for so long. And, whenever the came along, the other two children in the marriage, it was mine. You left me. You wasn't there for me. But the biggest thing is I forgave myself, right? And I understood that I did what I could at that time with what I knew. And with that, I forgave myself and I began to just pour wisdom into him. I'm very transparent and direct with my children. I'm very open, I don't sugarcoat anything. I'm mindful, but I don't sugarcoat and I let them know about life and reality because if we teach them, the world gonna teach them. The world them in the right way in which they're supposed to go. And then even down to the 7-year-old this year, due to COVID, I had to hold him back. And it was a decision that I made. I knew because of COVID, because of a divorce and a separation and a divorce, he failed in the middle of that. And unfortunately, in marriage, in separations and divorces, the children are the one that go through it. So I took the accountability to say, hey, I know where he's lacking at. So let me reach out to the school and what I can find out and tap into resources so that I can get him. Let me make this executive decision and hold him back. So making those big girl decisions, it is very, very, it's helpful. And it's going to help them in the long run. Even with my 23-year-old, we're a little bit, but I do know it's going to be a time when he comes to me and say, hey, Mom, I understood. I understand. And I forgive you. And even if he don't forgive me, I forgive myself and I've forgiven him for what I did not know.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Good afternoon, good evening. I see people still coming in. Thank you for joining us. We are talking about embracing what is and more importantly, what is not. Shakita, you just said a mouthful. And I want to talk a little bit about that because in order for you to embrace what is, a part of that was allowing your son the experience of being able to give you that feedback. One of the hardest things that I had to do as a mom, just even with a 10-year-old, was to allow him to give me feedback about my parenting, and about how my parenting affects him, about how my not being with his dad in a relationship affects him. And it was weird because it's like, you only 10. What you mean you're giving me feedback, right? But allowing him that opportunity, even like with like the way that I discipline, like there was this time when I was spanking. He ain't like that, of course. But to the point where he was becoming fearful of me. And I had to like step back. When he gave me that feedback, I had to step back and ask myself, is this what I want from him? And so it made me like really look at myself and why am I using spanking even? So that was like just having that open dialogue with our kids. I would imagine him being able to know that he can come to his mom and his mom would listen to him and she would actually make some decisions based on the feedback he gives her. Did you ever ask him about that part, Shakita?
Yeah, we talk about a lot. We talk about his challenges. We talk about, his successes and him sharing with me. And the biggest thing was just being extremely transparent. he felt like, I put him to the side. I didn't focus on him, and I had to look at myself, because as a mom, it is our responsibility, as they're growing to continue to pour into them. No, it's not going to be perfect. No, we're not going to have all the answers, but I had to allow myself to actively listen to what it is that he was saying and conveying to me so that I could know how to respond.
That's so good.
I know what helped me over the past year, because I have my children a lot. Taisha fusses at me all the time about this, but I have my children a lot. So one of the things that helped us with therapy is we have what you call boundary time, and then we have a green zone. So boundary time is if anybody calls boundary time, like for the next 15 minutes, nobody can bother that person. Whatever you want that boundary to be. So if I'm working, you can't walk my area, or everybody close their door, or you just stay in your zone. Like, don't bother nobody. Nobody has to clean up. Like, I can't ask them to do nothing. Just straight up boundary time. Then the green zone is where for 20 minutes, either we do it weekly, depending on how our week go, or we do it, nightly. You can say what you want, like, Mom, you getting on my nerves, or y'all getting on mine too, or like whatever it is that maybe, or what you feel like it's bothering you, or what you're happy about. It doesn't have to be negative stuff. Just whatever you want to talk about in the green zone for the straight 20 minutes. You won't get in trouble for it. That's just me. It's working for us. It's working for, especially the team, for us to have a better communication. Because he'd be like, Mama, you just be saying anything. I'd be like, I asked him, like, stuff about the birds and the bees. He'd be like, Mom. I'd be like, nah, what's up?
It's funny because whenever it was just me and my 23-year-old, when he entered into middle school, he came to me, and he was like, hey, Mom, I need condoms. Well, what you mean? Or, what you talking about? And then the crazy thing was, he was like, I want the one that make it feel like it ain't nothing on it. Wait a minute.
My heart, no.
So let me tell you what I did, because I was an open-minded parent, right?
Use that circle one on the bottom.
So I was like, I went, I did my scare tactic, and it was actually me and at the time, because I was a single mom. His father was in prison, and I was like, I started showing him pictures on the internet of all types of infected private parts.
Oh my God, Shakita!
That's crazy.
And I was like, I'm trying to scare you from it, but I this is the result of you. I appreciate you coming to me and talking to me about it, being brave enough to come to me and share it with me. But these are the results. So I need for you to be careful. I need for you to be cautious. But then on the other side of that, whenever I got married and things started showing, he got not too much attention anymore. He started rebelling. So he started not telling me certain things, and I really wasn't paying attention because I was kind of lost in my world dealing with life, and it was like, okay, well, he taught me. What I will say is he taught me when I began to sit down, actively listen and receive, he taught me what not to do with my other two.
I love that. Yeah. I love that. Avis, you were sharing before you got cut off. You were sharing about something that you learned.
I forgot.
Okay, we'll come back. I can't remember. So one of the things that I heard you both say is that you experienced a divorce. So I am a single mom, never been married, right? And that's something that's huge for me, especially during the holiday season. So a part of my embracing what not is not having that traditional family setup. I've never experienced, all of us being in the house and celebrating the holidays together. And that can be really hard. And I wonder if either of you have ever experienced that kind of. I actually came to the realization that a part of me was grieving not having that traditional family, because when you watch TV, when you watch movies, when you see the commercials, you see a mom and a dad and the kids, right? But what happens when you don't have that in your home? And your kids kind of want that, right? The kids need that sometimes even. And so a part of me, because that's what the way I was raised, a part of me had to grieve that side of it, not having the traditional family. And so talk to me, you guys, about your experience with the separation, the divorce, and how your family was able to recover after you guys were separated and not having that traditional family unit, especially during the holidays.
I don't know if my kids really. I don't know if they really was bothered too much, because my oldest son it's always been me and him. It's always been us. My family is originally from DC, so we never really had like the big, holiday thing. I've always longed for that. So then when I got married, it was like, oh wow, it's here. And then the 9-year-old, I mean, he kind of all he knows is his father. So we kept it for about 2, maybe 3 years. Kept it normal for him on the holidays, where his dad would stay over and wake up in the morning. Or like now, he just comes over in daytime or whatever. But I don't know. I'm gonna have to ask them that. I don't know if my kids ever felt the way, because the 9-year-old was so young. It's kind of like a thing. Like he just wakes up with mom.
Yeah. Well, what about you? Did you ever experience the loss?
I would be like really sad and depressed. Like people would invite me places, but I would just want to stay home. Like it really got bad. Like the second year after my divorce, it got really bad to like, if somebody invited, so like, you can take the kids, but I would just sleep the whole day. I didn't want to be around other people's families. I just after my divorce, because I've always wanted that family thing. I always like dreamed of the mountains and Christmas and all that. So like, yeah, for me,
these fantasies,
right? So for me, it was really really hard, like really really hard. It was real hard for me. Like I would just fall into like this dark space during the holidays. I didn't even enjoy them. Like I know what holidays are about, but I didn't enjoy it. Like the first year I was so angry, I didn't get to feel anything. But the second year, when I was like, oh, I'm 30, however old I was, I'm divorced, 2 kids. Like, I couldn't see the bright side of we're healthy, we're able. I couldn't see it. I just was seeing all the negative things that were happening. But yeah, I definitely went through a bad grieving process. Like, I couldn't get it right.
Yeah. How did you get to a place where you actually embraced where you are currently? How did you learn to make peace with it?
I actually learned to make peace with it because we both, although the cause of the marriage wasn't something that I'm trying to figure out the right word. Like I didn't do anything to let me change the word. We both apologized to each other, regardless of what each other have done. Like I may not have invited something else or someone else into the marriage. However, certain actions that I did may have caused certain situations, and I'm not blaming myself, but I'm just trying to say it without like this.
Contributing. You're taking accountability for your part.
I'm taking my ownership of me, and he took ownership of him, and we kind of just forgave each other, and it was just after the forgiving moment, it was like we became really good friends. Like the feelings left out, no sex involved. Like it was just like that's my homie, and he gets on my nerves just like a homie does, and I'm sure I get on his nerves. But it helped with, and then I stopped spending a lot of time with his family because they love me and I love them. They're very sweet people. I won't take that away from them. They're very caring and they love their grandkid. But I stopped spending a lot of time with them because it was like a battle back and forth, and I knew that we both was just not, that wasn't what I wanted. So I needed to separate myself. And so when I separated myself, I started to feel better. I started to feel like, okay, I can live again, dating other people. It's not the end of the world. And that's what made me feel better, is that I wasn't stuck in this circle that I felt like I couldn't get out of, because I either wanted my kid to feel comfortable, or I didn't want him to feel away or say things. But now it's, I feel good. I'm living. So, and again, that was because I created that boundary. Without that boundary, I probably would still be stuck in that circle, because I'm too busy trying to make sure the outside world sees one thing, my kid sees another thing, and he doesn't feel away. But the openness of our friendship is just, it's a better feeling.
Yeah. Have either you, for speaking for the people that were not married, did you ever get to the point where you guys were not really even friends? Like you and the child's father were not friends because, Shakita's like, yes, me. Because that's been my experience. I've experienced the fact that, you know what? This person does not want to have Christmas with me. This person does not want to have Thanksgiving with me. It's not going to be what it is in the movies. It's just not going to be. Mm-hmm. And so a part of my process has just been able to embrace and accept that this is my reality, and I can fight it, or I can accept it for what it is, and even come up with an agreement of what we want it to look like for the child. And that doesn't have to be what's in the movies in order for it to be okay, in order for it to be acceptable, even for it to be a happy and Merry Christmas or holiday for the kids. It doesn't have to look like the movies. So that's been my process. What about you, Shakita?
I've experienced it on all sides of the spectrum. First and foremost, with my 23-year-old, because I was a single mom for so long, and I'm a very family-oriented person, right? And I've been used to, growing up, just having the big family gatherings and being together. There were many holidays where I wasn't able, because I'm here in Charlotte and my family is back in South Carolina, 2.5 hours away. I wasn't able, to go there. So those particular times I would grieve, and I had an aunt to tell me one time, don't be so concerned about the family on the outside. Just focus on the family that's inside your home, so that seed that she planted years ago. So when we went through the separation and divorce, it was trauma. It was definitely trauma to the children because they were used to a certain way. So what I did and took it upon myself was, hey, let's split. You can get them for Thanksgiving, I'll have them for Christmas, and even though for them, it was a change, but it was good and it was kind of bad. And the reason why it was bad because it wasn't what they were used to, right? Yeah. On the other side of it, where it was good, they got to have holidays twice. So that was that. And the biggest thing was for me was, again, create your own traditions within your home. So I wouldn't grieve. My focus would be, I didn't have that grief because I went through the grief when I was single, so when I did come out of the marriage, I always took the time to do things that pleased me. So like on Christmas, we went ice skating. I cooked my own dinner, it was just us, of course it was that aloneness. It wasn't lonely, but it was that aloneness. But I did things to make me feel good and make my children feel good.
That's good. So let's stay there for 1 second. So you said something that was really important. You made a distinction between aloneness and what was the other word you used?
Loneliness.
Loneliness and aloneness. Can you talk to us about what the difference is?
So loneliness is whenever you have this dependency, whenever you feel like you need someone to fill a certain void within yourself. Aloneness is whenever you're able to recognize that, hey, I am an individual. I have individuality, and there are times that I'm going to be by myself, and that is okay.
That's so good. That's so good. So what you're saying is that it's okay to be by yourself and you'll still survive.
Absolutely.
And I wonder, here's an interesting thing. Like, we sometimes think that our kids will not survive. But what I've come to learn about kids is that they're very resilient. Not only are they resilient, but they follow the lead of the parent. So if the mom is like content and like into whatever she's doing at her house, like focusing on her house, the kids follow suit. They get right behind mom. And when I learned that my child was happy about his 2 Christmases, when I learned that part, that was like revolutionary for me, because he's like, I get 2 Christmases, yes.
I think that as parents, we put more of that I'm doing for my kid crap on them than what is really true. Like, I tell anybody, I'm all for working out your marriage or whatever, but I'm not staying with nobody for no kids.
Absolutely.
Them kids get grown and they gonna leave your tail and y'all gonna be old and stubborn and mad at each other. I'm not gonna stay with nobody for a child, because I promise you my 2 boys are gonna do whatever I say. They're not gonna, that's just the nature of being a mom to your kids. When you are a true mom, even moms that haven't shown up, kids naturally, unless they just don't want to, naturally are going to do or go with whatever the mom or dad has to say. So for me, my kids are just like, Mom, what you want to do?
They want you to be happy.
They want
I had my son tell me one day, I was like, well, Kingston, do you want me and your dad to get back together? He was like, nope. I was like, what? And he said, why? He said, because y'all don't like each other. And y'all fight too much.
I'm going to tell y'all, kids know so much. My 9-year-old, I promise you, he was only 7 at the time. He said out of nowhere, Mom, you divorced my dad? I said, what? At this time, we were kind of trying to play it cool. We wasn't together, wasn't living in the house, but my kid really puts in his head, you're supposed to be married in order to live with another person, have a baby. So he feels like the only way he came was because of marriage, which is true.
Which is true. Mm-hmm.
And so he literally was like, you divorced my dad? And I was like, well, yeah. I said, what does divorce mean? Well, you went to go get some papers and then y'all had to sign it. I said, what?
They know. They look and they observe, don't they?
Yes. He was like, well, why did you give my dad papers? And I was like, well, that's a great conversation for you and your dad. Because that wasn't something that I felt like I needed to say. Because at that time, my reasoning was probably something different from his father, but I didn't want to bash or anything like that to him. And so it's just like, kids know. And like, if I say, you want your dad here? No. Like, they know. Like, they know. So that whole, I'm doing this for my kid thing is kind of, to me, like a crutch. And I'm sorry, this is my opinion. It's like an excuse, like just to stay in a position or just to sometimes annoy the other party. Like, you don't need to do all that.
Yeah. Shakita, did you want to add anything?
I agree with everything what Ava says. The biggest thing is, for me, is making sure adult kids are resilient. And many times, as adults, remember, kids are the form of the creator, right? And it is us that program many things inside. them. But knowing that they're a purest form and they're the most authentic, they're able to handle things and they only respond to their environment. So when you create a positive, healthy, conducive environment, it's easier for them to thrive.
That's so good. That's so good. Now, so next week we're going to have a lady by the name of Tracy B on, and she's a family law strategist, and she's going to talk to us about navigating custody and navigating parenting time. But that we'll leave that to her. But I want to hear from you guys in terms of what kind of encouragement would you give moms whose fathers are just not involved at all? Like they are literally just doing it totally by themselves, no dad involved. Dad has never been around. What kind of encouragement would you give them in terms of embracing what is or what is not?
I will say
I'm getting hearts on that one, so that means we need to really talk about it.
The biggest thing is for me is you can do it, and also be patient with yourself and know that you're perfectly imperfect. And there are going to be many times, even though the biological father may not be there, there are always individuals that's in the community that's willing to be those mentors. So always reach out. A closed mouth don't get fed. Ask, ye shall receive. So be open to allowing different individuals pouring healthy into your children and knowing that you are not alone. You can do it. Most importantly, take it one day at a time. And when you can't take it one day at a time, take it one step at a time.
I love that. If you got to crawl, then crawl. Whatever you got to do, get there. Get there. Giving yourself grace. Giving yourself grace. And I think that and I'm going to give you, Avis, let me just hear what you have to say about that part.
I totally agree. Definitely give yourself grace. If you need a breather, take a breather. It's okay. You're not a bad person to say, I need help. My biggest mistake was I'm going to just do it myself. And I regret that all the time because I had no need to. I didn't make the other party accountable for his child. And that's my biggest regret. So I would say make that person take accountability. Do what you need to do to make sure your kid is good. Get you a team. Trusted, supported team. Seriously, I can call Taisha and be like, girl, come get me because I can't deal. Or his godfather is an amazing person. He's actually in the therapist world as well. I'd be like, you better come right now. So get you a supporting team. I don't care if it's a friend from, school, work, church. Have a supportive 5. That's how I am. A top 5 that that if you need just a moment. Honestly, I'll go to Target if I need a moment. I don't even have to buy nothing. I just need to get away for a second because kids like this ask for V-Bucks.
Hey, godson.
All night long.
Thank you, baby.
Well, look, he's mad right now on V-Bucks. But seriously, stop, son. Just get a moment to yourself. And, if anything, when you see those resources, reach out. Don't get yourself into a dark place thinking that you're alone because, I was scared to talk about my divorce for a long time. Ex-Taisha, I was embarrassed. I was scared. But just to hear Shakita talk about her life is this is kind of I hate to say it, it's a norm. And it's a million other women out here that has experienced the same thing. Somebody has experienced something already that you can relate to.
That's so good.
Taisha the oldest, but I've already experienced the marriage thing. So sometimes she comes to me about certain situations, but she has more wisdom in other situations that, I may have experienced, but she has more wisdom in it. So just get your top 5 and just really, really stay strong because, at the end of the day, your kid is going to love you. Your kid is going to love you.
Regardless.
Yeah, that is so important what you just said, Avis. One of the things that I heard you say is that sometimes we hold ourselves into this prison, thinking that no one has ever been where I am right now. I am the unique odd one, when really you are more like everyone else than you think. And so your staying silent is what keeps you in a prison, and it also keeps other people in the prison. So Avis has been like, had this like thing about talking about divorce, right? That's prison. That's not freedom. And so hearing Shakita have the freedom to talk about it freed Avis. And it's the same thing with all of us moms that are learning to embrace what is and what is not, is to have the conversation. Put it out there that there are so many people that are in your situation right now, but they don't say anything because they think they're the only one. But if you say something, then it frees them to say their part too. And then you get the inboxes, right? You get the inboxes, you get the hit ups on the texts and the calls, because people just need space to be free. And you opening your mouth and sharing what's going on with you gives them that space for freedom, to free themselves and to free you. So I want anyone, and Shakita, I'm coming to you, but anyone that has a question, a comment, anything that you want to ask either of us, please put those in the comments so that I can read them. And we'll, of course, come back later on if there are any questions that come up. But please put those questions in the comments. Shakita, what do you want to add about just for parents, that moms that have never had dad involved, especially during the holidays? What do you suggest to them? Did I already ask you that?
Yeah, you did.
Okay. Here's something that I want to share about that. So yes, you want to have the conversation with other moms because there's freedom in that. But also, I think that it's really important to have the conversation with your child, because sometimes what I have experienced is that we tend to, as moms, want to rescue. We want to rescue our kids from their emotions, from their feelings. We don't want them to hurt. We don't want them to do any of that. And I get it. But we as parents, as moms, we can't rescue our kids. They're going to feel. They're going to have to learn to feel. And a part of our job as moms, as I see it, is to hold space with them. As they are feeling, acknowledge their experience, validate their experience. Yeah, son, daughter, I know it's hard. I know that you might feel this. I get it. But resist the urge to fix it. Allow them the ability, just like you have the ability to feel, right? Give your kids that opportunity to learn how to do it with support, so that they don't feel like they have to stay in that prison or not be able to feel their feelings. It's so important to just validate another person's experience. It's so empowering to be able to do that, especially with our kids. And then you can even ask them, well, what do you think you might need? After you hear them, after you validate their experience, okay, babe, we here. I'm here with you. What do you need? What do you need from me? What do you need from whoever? And, if it is, connecting them with their dad or with their father, or at least offering it. You can't make it happen, but you can offer, right? You can encourage the relationship. We can't make it happen, but we can encourage. That's our part. We can't change anyone. We can't force anyone, but we can do our part. Anything else, ladies, that you want to have? I don't see any questions in the comments.
I want to add to that.
People saying hi. Mm-hmm.
I want to add to that with feeling, when you spoke on freedom and feeling the emotion. You can't fix the individual emotions, not even a child. So, like you said, allowing them to go through that emotion, and then, hey, what we do to allow to process through these emotions. So, just like the ice skating experience for Christmas, my daughter and my kids, they were sad, so I asked, what do you want to do? Hey, we want to go ice skating. It's through the experiences that we do in our lives is what creates joy and allow us to move through those different things as they come up. Not sit there, but move through them.
Good night.
Love that. Is that Carlos? Tell Carlos I am coming to the house tonight to get him.
Come on, because my kid.
I love that.
My kid is working and he over here crying about some V-Bucks, and I gotta.
Oh, tell him Godmommy got him for Christmas. So
Girl, he want this right now. What you talking about?
He said, forget Christmas. I want it. That's so funny. All right, so we're gonna wrap up. I don't see any comments I don't see any questions in the comments. I want to just kind of give us an update on what we're going to be having for the next 4 weeks. So next week, as I said, we're going to have Miss Tracy B. Tracy B. She is amazing. She is a family law strategist. She will tell you what to do about parenting and splitting time and all this stuff with dad. If he's not around, she'll give you the down and low about what to do. She is the bomb. So that is Tracy B. on November 4th. And then on November 11th, I have assembled, you guys, a panel of seasoned moms, the grandmas and the great grandmas. They are going to meet us here on the 11th. And I am so excited about that because I love wisdom. So Shakita's business is called Pure Wisdom, right?
Yeah.
Shakita, I love wisdom. I eat wisdom like it is food. And so I am excited about I think I got 4 or 5 seasoned moms. These are the grandmas that know how to raise healthy kids and healthy families. They are going to meet us here on the 11th to just talk to us about family and how to be moms. I think that's so important, right? And then on the 18th, I have a panel of just other everyday moms talking about how they do their holidays, holiday traditions, and how to celebrate and how they do it in their home. So they're going to do that. And then I have a bonus on November 23rd. The Manye Itana, she's going to be coming and she's going to be talking about how do you survive holiday grief. A lot of people, if you read statistics, holidays are the number one time where depression and suicide skyrockets. It's one of the highest times. And so she's going to talk to us about how do you survive holiday grief and how do you get through it. So that is what we have coming up. And then we have a huge announcement that I am so excited about. So make sure that you stick around at the end of November to hear what our announcement is going to be, because it's going to be amazing. You're going to love it. Will you guys tell us how to find you and tell us, I don't think you guys did tell us about what you do, but tell us where we can find you. If anyone wants to connect.
You can find me on all social media channels, Pure Wisdom, INC, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, YouTube. I even have a Medium blog, right? So you can definitely find me on all of those channels.
So it was going out a little bit. So I want to just ask you if you don't mind repeating it, because it went out a little bit. I want to make sure people can get the details.
Absolutely. So you can find me on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and YouTube, and all of it is Pure Wisdom INC. On YouTube, it's Pure Wisdom Global.
Pure Wisdom INC on most channels, and on YouTube, Pure Wisdom Global. Love it. I love some wisdom. So thank you so much for what you offer to the world. I really appreciate it. I appreciate it. Avis?
It's Polished Consulting Group on Instagram and Polished Consulting Group on Facebook. And the website is thepolishedconsulting.com.
Yes, Avis will get you right. I know everyone is going to be starting their New Year's resolutions. If your New Year's resolution involves anything finance, money, budgeting, any of that for your family or for yourself, buying a home, right, Avis? She is your girl. She is your girl. She's amazing. I'll be like, Avis, how you do this?
Every day.
we pull on each other. We pull on each other. So, all right. Well, thank you so much for joining us today. And I will see you all next week with Miss Tracy B. Bye-bye.